All right.
This is fucking bullshit. Oh my god. What a lot of crap.
Hey, welcome to Taz. That's what this is. Okay, let me just realign the windows here and I'll do some spiel. Oh.
You're absolutely right. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't get fooled again.
Oh.
Lieutenant and NORAD, don't misunderestimate me. I'm the best security officer on the bridge.
Yes, the relationship with
I'm
my
also the
former
only
ex-partner.
security officer on the bridge.
Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Do we have any security officers that have been compromised by alien beings? Well, maybe one, but he died.
Look, Lon is off the ship. Security efficiency has dropped rapidly.
Anyway, welcome to Star Trek, our ongoing journey through the Star Trek episodes. We have literally just finished watching the animated series episode The Survivor, which is a short trip through duplicity and broken hearts, written by James Schmierer, who you might be glad to know didn't write anything else. However, he did write several episodes of Chips and Fantasy Island starring Ricardo Montalban. However, and an episode of TJ Hooker as well, because he just couldn't get enough Shatner. This was...
Is that why you specified that Carter Winston needed to have a massive mustache?
Yeah. Okay, your first impressions of Carter Winston, what were your first thoughts when he beamed onto the ship?
Yellow.
Free for all, go for it.
So much yellow.
I thought that man looks like he is a supporting character in the next Austin Powers movie.
Yes. He could have been Austin Powers' dad. It's me, Carter Winston.
Good with Nigel Powers. Yeah. It's not the size of the tentacle, mate. It's how you use it.
So, fun fact. You might recognise this species.
Is it fun?
A little bit of fun fact. This is probably the most fun we're going to have with this fact. But this species has been seen since this episode for eagle-eyed viewers of Lower Decks. Yeah, so they were featured in one Lower Decks episode. I forget which one it was, but there was the tentacle alien turned in from an Andorian to a tentacle alien, the Vendorian, and escaped through the window. I know some of you have not watched season 4 of Lower Decks yet, stars, but there is an episode focused on the Vendorian, so I won't spoil which one it is, but they have been featured since. So this is that was a nice little pull from Taz, but overall thoughts on this episode. Hit me, Dan.
Fucking sucked.
Okay, go on, Otto.
No, it sucked.
Yeah,
That's
you
it.
talk.
Go on, Dan.
This is meant to keep kids tuned in for 22 minutes on a Saturday morning, right? So, I mean, what can you expect from it? I think opening up with the sappy crying over your estranged fiance thing was a little bit of a strange choice there, but and also I don't think they're selling a lot of toys of that alien either. If you're gonna put something on TV, make it a little more action figure. I don't know. That's all I got. What do you got, Frank?
I want the monkey paw from The Simpsons, or a genie just to fall in my lap right now, because I would wish, with one wish, not for world peace, not for immortal life. Well, I'd make two wishes. One, I'd wish that Big go back and go on a win streak no one before on Jeopardy, decimating Ken Jennings, whoever that guy is. But my second wish would be that time is rewound and Bill Shatner gets to direct Star Trek VI this episode, but in real life form, and it's just a 2-hour live action movie of them chasing around this gorgeous mustache man, Colonel Mustard, around the Enterprise in the library with a candlestick. And I can't get enough. I want to watch it again.
It really runs the gamut here. So I actually have to take umbrage with the idea that this is meant, sorry, Dan, I don't mean to take shots at you at all, but it's a case of you should show kids good things.
In the red corner.
Right.
Stealing Idol's bit there.
I don't know. I don't feel like you should be showing kids trash. You should show them good cartoons. You should be showing them things that will. Yes, and that's why I'm saying you shouldn't let them watch trash. You should curate what your children watch and make sure that it's got a good message and that it doesn't feature the one female character in the main cast being complete and utter dimboid. Just So like, I'm trying to put myself in like the mindset of like I'm a dad in the 70s, right? I liked TOS pretty decently, but I thought it was maybe a little bit too risque for my kids. Oh, great! They're coming out with a Star Trek animated show. I'm going to sit down and watch it with my kid, and my kid's watching this, and I'm watching this. I lean back. I'm probably in like a leisure suit because it's the 70s. I probably got like
Daddy,
tight green shorts.
Are all the splashed men going to turn into tentacle monsters? No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about
it. No. I'm imagining that about 10 minutes in, the kid turns to me and goes, "Dad, can we watch something else?" And then I I lean over and I have like
mustache,
a mustache, not unlike Carter Winston's. And I'm like, son, nothing would give me greater pleasure than for us to never watch this show again. Like, why? What is the point of the show? What did you learn? What is the moral lesson? What is the? It's just people being stupid about an alien for 20 minutes. There's no greater like. And guess what? If I had a nickel for every time a USS Enterprise crew member had a long-lost fiance that comes back as some kind of like duplicate with an ulterior motive, I'd have
you'd be quite
nickels.
rich. You'd have quite a lot.
I'd have at least 3 nickels just for TOS, which is not a lot of nickels, but it's weird that it's happened 3 separate times.
Yeah.
I don't have my coin prop. Sorry, I can only give you a 5.
No change.
Also,
sorry.
I'll get you change.
Yeah. Big's daughter watched it. Big, is she in drug rehab yet?
Well, God, I hope not. That sounds expensive. But the thing is, I do not understand what the purpose and the motivation of either the alien or the Carter guy or the Romulans. Were they actually Romulans? Was that established that they
apparently were Romulans who were flying D7s so shitty that they took one hit from the USS Enterprise and were like, "Oh boy."
Well,
that was a really easy war to win, I guess.
Yeah, it's like he is bad. He isn't bad. He is more Carter now than what was the name of the race again? It's like the
Vendorians.
Vendorians.
I'm gonna try and do my best. Alec Guinness. He's more Vendorian now than man.
Twisted, but better than you would assume he is. He's for the goods.
Go Auto.
No, so yeah, it just from moment to moment, it changed what it wanted to be for no real discernible reason, because it's like it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't get anywhere. All it ends on is a dumb little back and forth between Spock and McCoy, which is not out of character for TOS or TAS, but it does nothing.
It really does feel like they got to a certain point in the script and then like, oh shit, I've written way more than I need for 20 minutes. And they cut out the second half of the script, and that probably became another shitty episode. And then they just depended on that McCoy Spock bit at the end with the implication of tentacle sex between Lieutenant Andorian and the Vendorian. Like,
there's something going to be said about them breaking up, and then she chases him back into the closet twice. I don't know.
That was some bullshit. Right, go Auto.
Hold on, I'm making a trade in another game right now.
That's how invested he is in the story of the Survivor.
All right, so for better or for worse, this actually is. So TAS is not meant to be a kid's show, but this is this is episode 6. This is probably the one that comes closest to it. Because if you watch the reviews of some of the previous ones we did, there is so much dense, chewy, science-y script where it's like they'll throw like 8 different concepts at you at once, including like time travel and like 7 solid minutes of technobabble. This was super pared down to very simple concepts, stuff that a kid could follow. And even though they don't really pay it off, they give you like 30 seconds sort of at the end where the alien explains, I just want to be needed. That's important to me. And so this would, it's not really a kid show. It could have been very easily. This is probably the closest we've come so far to a kid-friendly script, I would say.
Yeah.
I do have. I actually do have another fun fact that I was just looking up on.
Is
on
it fun?
Alpha. It's quite fun. This is quite fun. Ted Knight was the guy that played the voiced Winston, Carter Winston. That's not his real name. That's not his birth name. His birth name is very impressive. It is, I don't even know if I'm going to say this properly, but it's Tadeusz Władysław Konopka.
Vladislav.
But I imagine he Americanized to Ted Knight when he came in. But he was not credited. For
he was born in Terryville, Connecticut.
Yes.
So how did he come up with Tadeusz Władysław Konopka?
Yeah.
It's like, what the?
Yeah. So that's it.
My brother is named Jeff.
Yes.
Like.
Well, I mean, and Ted Knight. I mean, obviously, the Caddyshack, Mary Tyler Moore show. Yeah. So heavy hitter.
Yeah.
Big hitter.
Not on this.
But yeah, no, utterly wasted. I mean, yeah, that was the other thing too. It's just like his voice acting. That it's like it was almost in like.
There was no change in tone. Yeah,
it was very flat. I mean, and I think that's a pretty consistent criticism with a lot of the voice acting in TAS in general. Is
in the 70s,
seems very toned down.
It wasn't a proper, it's not the production they had today. Like nowadays, you do like a voice production, you'll have a director, you'll have all the kind of things that modern productions do have for that kind of work. But back then, it was just like stand in front of the microphone. Here's your lines. Go.
Sure.
That was it.
Yeah, Shatner never gets above like a 3 in any of these, really. So. Yeah, but man,
it's an interesting shout out about the voice acting, because back then there was no remote voice acting. Now we can get the best talent and people that are familiar with source material from anywhere on the planet.
Yeah.
Back then it was centralized. You had to go to the exact same production studios, probably Desilu, and they had to deliver their lines in the exact same microphones, just set up differently in a little alcove there. So you were limited to who was available and on the spot to do this sort of thing.
Which is why James Doohan and Major Roddenberry ended up voicing the majority of the roles in the episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually kind of an interesting thing that they actually got a guest voice to be
the big hitter as well.
Yeah.
Big hitter, I don't know. If you can't get Peter Graves and Leslie Nielsen, you need a steel-haired white man as your actor, then okay, it's Ted Knight. So.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. I thought Anne was put like the most into it. You got a little bit of emotion, a little bit played by Nichelle Nichols. So it's like, let's make sure we give her nothing ever in Star Trek, even though she's like the best voice actor in the cast. So
yeah, another.
Well,
outrage.
Scotty, but.
There were things in this episode, like there were a lot of stupid things. I think the concept of an alien that takes on more of its personality of the person it killed is something that's been done before. There was a race of creatures in Doctor Who did the same thing, and I cannot remember the names.
Was it done before, or was it done
it's the Zygons.
The Zygons, that's it, yes, the Zygons. You might be right, that might be after this. I don't know, I'd have to look at the sign. I mean, I'm sure that's a classic sci-fi concept from many, I'm probably sure Ray Bradbury or some of the main major sci-fi authors probably wrote about the same thing. Harlan Ellison probably pitched the idea to Star Trek at some point, but I felt this was played so badly. Like, this was just like, you got this kind of, they tried to set up a little intrigue with the Romulans, saying they planted this person here to do it, but then he ended up turning against them. But throughout the whole script, you're just kind of confused from what's kind of happening.
Yeah, because it's like, it feels like it flip-flops between 3 different plots, depending on it wants to be this story about a tragic romance between Carter Winston and this generic dumbass of a Starfleet officer. It wants to be a story about political intrigue between Starfleet and Romulans, and it wants to be an alien infiltrator story. And it's like, cool, you can pick maybe 2 of these threads.
Yeah, you've got 20 minutes. Come
not
on.
3. Yeah, in 20 minutes, it's like you can't just keep on flip-flopping like that rapidly between them, because
that being said,
have a consistent tone.
We have watched a lot of Lower Decks where they have like about 5 plots, but they managed to base it a little bit better. But then it's so like pow, 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 pow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they try and go full depression, like that intro scene with Anne and Carter in sickbay. It's like they're trying to play that for like tragic, sympathetic, dead love story,
which is weird for a kids show.
Trying,
yeah. Which is, I was gonna say, it's like if the premise is that this is for kids, it's like kids aren't gonna get that. What on earth is this doing in the rest of this episode? So
dude, I'm just thinking about the Desilu timpanis like blasting in the background as she's got like 2 tears rolling down her cheeks. This whole episode is so absurd.
Oh, we get some classic. We get the classic run as well.
Her
like...
reaction faces throughout the episode were just like, you know, just, and with the single tear, and it's just.
No, I mean,
can we also get a shout out for McCoy being a complete fucking dumbass? Like he completely earns that like remark at the end about, oh, if we had 2 McCoys, like medical efficiency would be halfway adequate. Because McCoy in this episode is like, oh, my instrument's getting a weird reading. Must be instrument error. Yeah. Not the fact that this guy's been missing for years and has some kind of weird alien microbe, or he's been replaced by a shape changer, or even they just has some kind of weird STI. Like, Bones, it's your job to investigate that.
Well, and the point. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, it's to the point that they had to invent at that point a daughter that McCoy had never mentioned before, just to give him a reason to implicitly trust everything to do with this Carter person.
Yeah.
They had to come up with that, because otherwise it is completely preposterous that he's completely credulous the entire episode until he literally turns into a squid in front of his face.
And let's not even remark on the fact that, it takes, like, was it Kirk or Spock is the one who looks at the fucking med bay and goes, by the way, you've got an additional bed in here. Like, I'm sorry, McCoy. Yes. What the fuck? You worked here for years.
Man, he's talking to a table.
There's always been a swimming pool on the roof of the school. What are you talking about?
Like, I go into work and I notice when the door catches on the floor because it's odd. This motherfucker looks at a room with 3 bio beds when there's meant to be 2, and he's like, I don't see anything wrong with this.
You know what it is? It's just McCoy goes, bloody engineers, always trying to change my sick bay. He just thinks it's Scotty's fault. Like, he's just brought me another bio bed without me consulting me.
Just doing this kind of fun.
If I can back up a second.
Go on.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sure this joke's got legs.
Nah, forget it.
Now, sorry, I'm real salty. I'm in a bad mood today. I'm going to decimate this episard. So if you get caught in the wake, I apologize.
Oh no! Not all 0 of the survivor stands come out to attack you.
All right, so if I can back up a second, I like to do 1 memory alpha poll per episode, and this was so thin. There's like 3 paragraphs on it. So since you mentioned McCoy's daughter Joanna. The character, Joanna, was featured in DC Fontana's original draft of The Way to Eden, where she was going to be one of the space hippies, but that got cut. Fontana's frustration with Joanna McCoy being completely excluded from the script led her to replacing her name with the byline Michael Richards on its script. This reminds me of, like, we used to joke how, like, if Odo doesn't get his way early seasons, he just goes to Cisco's office and quits. How many times has DC Fontana been so upset with, like, Roddenberry? She's like, I don't want my name on this. Put someone else on it. Yeah. This is like the 6th time in like 30 episodes we've done where DC's gotten upset and like requested that her name not be attached to something. So.
And it's like, if I recall correctly, the way to Eden ends with all those hippies dying, right? Like, did you really want that for McCoy's like character? Is that something that you thought was like? Was there an emotional through line here that was cut from the episode? Like, or did, like,
no, maybe that's why they died. It's like, no, I'm not resolving this episode. Fuck it, they die. You know what? I've changed the script.
I do not alter it further.
Okay, let's go over for best and worst moments. I'm going to be kind and go last because I'm still scrambling to think. But there's 6 of us. This is going to be some real. We're going to allow duplications, I think, because I feel like there probably will be there. It's a thin story. There's a lot of.
It's a 20-minute episode. There's 6 of us. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Dan gives you best and worst.
Yeah, I like the ship battle. I thought that was impressive. I don't know why the Romulans were in D7s, but it was kind of neat that they, bothered to take a couple of different angles.
The backstory behind that is because that appears in the Nevesa episode of TOS season 3 as well. The backstory is that at some point the Klingons and the Romulans had a technology share at some point, probably the House of Duras, the traitors, and they ended up with some D7s from the Klingons. But the real in-house reason was that they didn't have enough ships. They just went, this one will do. Fuck it.
Didn't they have the Romulan bird of prey? Why did they?
I think that was generally regarded to be an experimental ship, wasn't it? It was supposed to be sort of...
Oh yeah, we wouldn't want to break the continuity by having them use a ship that explicitly belongs to them, rather than... Yeah, just take the Klingon ships, just do that. That's way more sensible. Fucking dumb.
Anyway, that's the reason. But sorry, carry on, Dan.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Worst moment, I think just the obvious padding where they fooled Ann Norad for the third time and then chased him into the closet the second time. We have another commercial break we got to get to. Just throw this extra reused animation in. So that's what I got.
Auto.
All right, so I have three best. They're best and worst, because this episode was so bad. Like, they couldn't just have a good moment without ruining it. All right, number one, Ann Norad. For like 3 seconds, she's competent. She uses a bit of logic and deduction to realize, oh, you're the only new person on the ship. You must be the alien. And then, like that guy in Austin Powers, where he's standing 50 yards away from the steamroller, you see it coming, but she does nothing to get out of the way of it coming. Of course she's going to be fooled. Of course she's a complete moron. And she gives in to this guy like 3 times. So she was briefly competent. I'm like, finally, someone who's a lieutenant, someone who was promoted over Harry Kim. She must be competent in some area, but no, of course she wasn't. Number 2, the animations. There were some hilarious ones. Like, every time someone got choked out, they had a different, face going on. But then stuff like the karate chop on the phaser was like, there's so many bad animations, too. So they had some good ones, some really bad ones. Number 3, the 30 seconds of character development that we get in this episode on the bridge right at the end. In fact, I'm going to read it just because I actually do like this dialogue here. Kirk asks, why did you do it? He says, among my own people, I am a non-producer, useless, an outcast fit only to do those tasks of the lowest order. The Romulans offered me a life, something of value I could do. It is important to be of value to someone. That's what kids should be taking away from this if you're sitting their kids down to watch the episode. But the fact that we got like 15 seconds of it out of 25 minutes is inexcusable. Like, they do no other character development in this at all. Even like you get like high points with Anne and they wipe it out immediately after. So, and then, like you said before this, we get no motivation, he just like keeps trapping people with his tentacles, and they just like go from plot point to plot point with nothing in between. So I do like that dialogue. I like that kernel of an idea, but the fact that it's like a grain of sand in the script is a joke.
Go big.
Okay. I guess I'll take the layup at the end. I mean, the little back and forth with McCoy and Spock at the end. That's a good little McCoy. It's it's C- McCoy Spock banter, but compared to the rest of this episode, it doesn't take much to clear the bar for the rest of this episode. So that does it for me. And I'm going to piggyback on a worse, because it's not something that happens, it's something that doesn't happen, and it's piggybacking off what Otto was saying, is that it would have taken so little to have the Anne character just be the person that shows the growth, and it's like, okay, I'm moving beyond this idea of this man that isn't anymore, that doesn't exist anymore, and I've been fooled by multiple times. Okay, I'm finally getting over. I can finally, summon my actual Starfleet training and subdue this intruder. But they don't do that, and I don't understand why. Because, like, heaven forbid a one-off character be the person that actually does the thing that stops the threat. It has to be Kirk for some reason. It's like, I can't forgive. It's like, but I can't forget. Here, phaser, whatever. So yeah, that's what I've got.
Stars.
Oh God.
The pickings is slim.
Yeah.
I say you can duplicate. Like, there's enough of us here. I think that's only fair. It's a 20-minute episode.
I don't think we've ever done, like, maybe one Trek we've had 5 people on. Never 6.
No, we've never done 6.
We're picking like 2 of the worst episodes in Star Trek history to inflict on as many people as possible.
That's the way we do things, baby.
Who will break and quit first?
All right,
in the herd.
It's finally time. 4 years. Fuck it, we're packing it in. This broke us.
Yeah, it's all done. Okay, so worst moment. I'm going to go straight in. I'm going to say the Enterprise single-handedly fending off two Romulan Romulan birds of prey with no ship damage apart from minor damage to the secondary impulse engine or whatever the fuck. Clearly showing that the Romulan neutral zone is a concession for the Romulans' benefit and not for the Federation's. I guess Balance of Terror was fucking nothing, I guess. That really bothered me, because it's like, it made me think of that moment, what is it? Is it the Defector? Or, Data's Day, when, like, where the Enterprise D gets, like, tricked into, a Romulan plot, and they're like, we've got you surrounded by... Yeah, and then like Picard's like, I don't worry, I was smart, and it's like, I have 3 Klingon birds of prey as my backup, and then they have to back up. And it's like
the most coolest moment in all of TNG.
It's one of the coolest moments, because you have like, okay, the Romulans come across as a credible threat, and Picard still comes across as a good tactician. And here it's like, no, we're not even gonna fucking pretend. Yeah. We have to get through this shit quick. They just win. The Enterprise is just that good.
And would you say that's a Romulan plot or a Romulan ploy?
Some kind of attempt to start a war.
No, they were definitely playing checkers in this episode.
Yeah. I feel like they were playing tiddlywinks for all they fucking can.
No, noughts and crosses, like you said. Four square. What is it called? Connect 4.
Connect 4. Yeah, we already established they're playing Connect 4.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Best moment. Fuck me, God.
My intro sure something.
It's not a bad idea.
It's fine, it's gimme.
You know what? I'm gonna say I appreciated Carter Winston turning into Sailor Moon for a moment to do his henshin transformation into a weird little tentacle alien. That was fun. That made me laugh. That gave me joy, I suppose.
All right, go Frank.
Well, in the spirit of normal Treks, I will not duplicate, despite the fact that the gentleman above me, Automaton, did actually take my best answer, which was the animation, the Judy chop that she gave him. Was just Judy chop, and boom, that popped me hard. But then I was going to say at the very end, the animated face of McCoy as he got bitch slapped by Spock. It like, I looked at it, I really thought I was looking at DeForest Kelly. They nailed it. It was better than The Good Artist on Star Trek Timelines, which now this is in April. That game has ended, thank God. You don't know what Star Trek Timelines is.
Oh, you wish.
So I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to take that because Otto said it. I'm just going to do one thing, and you'll know what I mean when I say the best. I will carry this with me for the rest of my life. That's the best. Yeah. That's the greatest. The worst. So, Kirk is impersonated by the calamari, and he's on the bridge barking orders. And this is where I lost it. I believed it as a true story until this moment, and then I could not see it as a true story anymore. Is when Sulu backtalks him and says, "But sir," and then starts reading off all this stuff, and Kirk says, no, these are my orders, I'm the captain. And once again Sulu backsasses him, and Kirk allows it. Kirk doesn't kill him, Kirk doesn't banish him, Kirk doesn't do anything. He allows 2 backsasses.
He doesn't evaporate him with his eyes.
Yes, from the guy driving. He's sitting in the back of the cab.
This is why Sulu got a command of his own. That's why. That's why he got the Excelsior.
I just couldn't believe it at that point, because no good alien pretending to be a captain would have stood for that. They would have immediately evaporated the guy talking back and saying, "I'm in charge." Nobody else questioned that. Instead, he just sat there and he's like, "Okay, you can yell at me some more," which you can see why the dude got broken up with by his girlfriend there, the crazy stalker lady. Because he's just sitting there, and she's like, "And another thing, you left me for 5 years. You left the oven on." And he's like, "Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry." See, I couldn't believe it.
Okay, so it's funny rolled over to me. you know what? I am still in love with that animation style of them running for no particular reason. Like when McCoy, it just made me giggle so much when Kirk runs to the bed and like, that's not a real bed. That just made me chuckle. So that's probably my best moment. My worst moment follows soon. It's kind of been elaborated on before, but when she gives the Judy chop, and there's a little sequence there when she disarms him. Kirk goes, "Haha, no, I have a gun." The ship rocks from fire, and the guy walks to the other room, runs to the other room very slowly. It takes his time. It's probably like what, a 5-foot square room. Just goes through the door, and they go, "We've lost him. He's gone. Never mind. Let's
I don't know
talk
if
here."
you know this, Idol, but Deck 16 on the NCC 1701, there's this one room where if you go through that door, it turns into like 16 labyrinths.
Oh, of course, yes.
Deck.
That's the old flaws of the Constitution classes. Yeah,
there's an anti-object permanence field just on the other side of that door. So.
Why is this
it's
in here?
It's like 20... It's like 20 escape rooms in a row.
Pike installed it before he left. I'm going to piggyback another good one as well. Is just literally that little back and forth where we called it as we were watching it, but McCoy's just like, "Oh, it's fine. I did the readings fine." Spock's like, "Maybe you didn't." McCoy's like, "Maybe I didn't." And Spock immediately turns around and goes, "That's not Dr. McCoy." And Kirk's like, "That's right." And that's kind of like the most
Dr. McCoy
realistic.
would call me a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. That's the most realistic TOS part of the episode. Is there was a little bit of that familiar banter that we're used to, where there's like, hang on, something's not wrong here. He's far too placid. What the fuck? And that's my best and worst. Let's talk some scores. Stars.
Oh, we forgot to pre-rate this.
Oh, we did forget to pre-rate this. Oh, it's too late.
We're good at this.
We are. We'll do pre-rating for the next one.
This
okay.
episode doesn't deserve a pre-rating.
Gosh, yes, no. Yeah, to be fair, this was a bit of an anomalous one because not many of us have watched Taz, so it's kind of like hard to pre-rate. But
yeah,
anyway.
It's hard for me to pre-rate Taz.
Yeah. Stars, what is our rating criteria for this episode of Star Trek?
Gentlemen, how many games of Romulan Connect 24 out of 10 would you like to give this episode?
So good. Let's start again. Around in the order. Dan.
I will give this episode 3 Romulan Games of Connect 24 out of 10. And the reason being, I didn't want to go too much lower because I actually, it held my attention for 22 minutes. And that's more than I could say for a lot of episodes of the original series. I like how it was edited down quite a bit, and they actually seem to have a plot here that they followed from start to finish. There were some reveals after each commercial break. It seemed to follow a decent framework, even if the character motivations really weren't there. But I enjoyed this. This is the first episode of the animated series I think I'd ever, no, not ever watched, but probably watched in a very long time. So I had always kind of had a I wasn't favorably inclined towards it, but I'd watch another one.
So you enjoyed it, but it's a 3.
Well, I didn't say it was good TV or good Star Trek, but as far as a Saturday morning cartoon, I would sit through the toy commercials and be back for more.
We all grade these differently. Like we watched Naked Now or whatever. It was me, Idle, and Shy, and we all loved it and we all laughed at it. But we gave it like 2 of us gave it a 7. Idle gave it like a 2 because he's like, I enjoyed watching it, but it's bad Star Trek. So everyone grades a little bit differently. So.
I like to think it's just like, I'm such a degenerate. I'm giving this a 3.
I only enjoy terrible television.
To be fair, terrible television is best enjoyed shared. Otto, you're the expert on that. Please give us your rating.
I'll try to keep this brief. I recently realized I was going to 1 to 10, but considering 5 average, and if you do that, 5.5 is the average. So I'm rolling out my new 0 to 10 rating. Ooh. So I might have to retroactively change some things.
There's a minus.
This
3.
episode was 0.3 Romulan Games of Connect 24.
Ooh.
It held my attention for 15 seconds when the alien says, "The Romulans offered me a life, something of value I could do. It's important to be of value to someone." I love that concept. I would like to see several episodes where they roll that out in different settings with different characters. It's an important concept. And if you think about things like radicalization in real life, people do things that you never would have expected because they just want to have a purpose. They want to feel accepted and belonging. And I love that concept. And so they gave it 15 seconds. The rest of the episode, I didn't give a crap about. So 0.3.
I feel like I should have done you last because that's like a nice sentiment to end the show on. And here's our good moral of the week. Like, that would have been perfect to end and cut to black. All right, go big.
Morality. Turn. So I'm somewhere in between that, just because it feels like there were about 4 different ideas in the course of this episode that could have been fleshed out into good, solid pieces of sci-fi television. And because they tried to ram them all together in a 22-minute casserole, it just, none of it lands. None of it works. So I think I'll give it a 2, and that feels generous to me, because it just, nothing works. And I will not be upset if I never watch that ever again.
Just because, Big, I'm looking at the spreadsheet now, and like, do you know the last thing you because we've not seen you for a while, you've been busy. The last thing you rated for us and we came on for, do you know what that was? That was Code of Honor.
Oh boy.
So we're giving you all the good episodes.
Yeah.
We're treating you so badly.
That's how
By the
I know
way,
you love me.
When Carter's talking, his mustache doesn't move, and that really bothered me. I do a little bit, and just have it just wiggle like a couple microns. Just give him something.
It's all the wax. It's got to stay still.
That was the 70s.
You know, they probably ran an ad during the commercial break for mustache wax. I would believe it.
Hey, children, do you need to wax your mustache? Yeah, I sure do. All right, stars go.
Mirror frame.
Okay. This episode was trash, but it did make me laugh out loud a good few times. And there are inklings of a good episode in here. Like, you could take this and break the essential plot ideas down into a broth, and eventually you'd come out with a good episode after many, many rewrites. I don't know. I like the idea of an alien that like takes on more aspects of someone that it impersonates, even if it's a very ill-defined version of it in here. Like Orta says, I do like the idea of being a non-producer and feeling listless. I've felt like that at times. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be generous. I'm going to give this.
You produced a lot of joy for a lot of people, stars.
Yeah, this is why I don't impersonate other people and why I don't wax my mustache. I would have to give this 4 games of Romulan Connect 24 out of 10, because like it's not a good episode, but I don't feel like it's out. Well, apart from Anne being a complete dipshit, like guess what? I know an Anne, she's lovely, but like this Anne, bad. Gives all an Anne's a bad name.
How many Annes out of 10?
But the rest of the episode is hilarious. It's in how inept it makes the US and the Enterprise crew look. So for comedy value, I'm going to give it a few points. I'll give it a 4 out of 10.
But when you see something coming that's going to upset you, and they do it anyway, that's like so, like we all saw it coming. It was so so obvious, so easy to bypass, and they just let it.
Yeah. Is she going to be our kick-ass female? What are you kidding? It's the 70s. Speaking of kick-ass females from the 70s, Frank!
So what you're saying is you hate it when you see something coming and you're like, no, he's not going to do it. He's not. God damn. Oh, he did it. So you know that I'm about to roll in here and say, you know what? Fuck it. I laughed. I liked it. He rated it a 0.3. I'm going to give it a 9.7.
What?
So it has a 10.
It's a bold move.
Divided by 2, it has a 5. But I am going to taper your expectations. I'm not going to do that because I had a lot of problems with this episode. It was before its time of Japanese tentacle adult cartoons, I guess. I'm not really sure about that. It's animated series. It is what it is. It's not supposed to be good. It's Star Trek it's the best Star Trek I've watched today. And that's only because I haven't watched any Star Trek today.
Wow, you've been doing your TNG season 1 rewatch again, have you?
I'm very sure I could watch. Okay. Well, here's a quick one.
The jury's still out if we watched any Star Trek just now. But
you're stuck on a desert island for a year, and the only thing you have with you is a iPhone that never has a battery go out, and the only entertainment on it that you can access, the only thing that you have for 1 year, is either this episode or Code of Honor. Which one do you pick?
Code of Honor.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think this episode.
No,
I don't want someone. I don't want someone to rescue me and then be like, "Oh no, he's watching something problematic. Fuck it, leave him there."
Yeah, but this is just as not just as problematic, but it's still problematic in its treatment of female characters. Like, let's be real.
Go on, Frank.
Yeah, I want to give it a better rating just because I did enjoy myself for 24 minutes, but I enjoy myself for 24 minutes in a lot of ways, and it's not usually highly rated. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give it a 3.9 games of Romulan Connect 24 being played by McCoy's illegitimate, long-lost, forgotten, bastardized daughter. Out of 10.
Amazing. Overtide says, have you all weighed in on what's the worst episode of Trek ever? I think that's kind of what we're doing.
Yep. We'll get there.
Wow. I don't know if I get that.
I'll tell you what it currently is when I give my rating. This, like I say, we're watching this in like we've debated about this before between me, Stars, and Auto. Like this is like
it's These Are the Voyages, by the way. It's the winner.
We haven't got there yet.
Who is without sin.
We're watching this.
That's going to be my number one.
We're watching this in company, and when watching bad episodes in company, automatically puts it a point up because we're all laughing, we're all smiling, we're riffing on it. But there is that, and there's like the contest between what would I actually give this if I was rating it seriously. I feel like others have said, there are concepts of good ideas in here. There are nuggets of just like, it's her former lover, but he's turned into like a different race. Can she find the real person underneath, but still be a competent Starfleet officer? The Romulan plot where they send the alien in to kind of try and lure them into the neutral zone. But sorry,
is it part of a Romulan plot? A ploy to start a war?
I feel like it tries to do all those things and does none of them at the same time. Also, my other point of umbrage is, this is, unlike Lower Decks, which is not a kid's show, unlike Prodigy, which is a kid's show that can be enjoyed by a whole family, this was specifically advertised as, it's Star Trek for children, this is going to be what you're going to watch. This starts off like not at all like that. I know, like we've said before, I know if my kids watch there, they'd be like, I'm just looking at the pretty colours, I don't really know what's going on. So, there's a lot, it starts off with a breakup between two people, it goes into it goes into some sort of pretty mature topics about, impersonation and things like that. It's not really Scooby-Doo. It's not any Hanna-Barbera stuff, It's not Daffy Duck, like, trying to shoot Elmer Fudd and, the gun doesn't work, but he turns it backwards and it does.
Nary a slide whistle in sight.
Exactly. It doesn't quite know what to do.
I feel like they would have made the episode better.
But on the flip side, if they're trying to advertise this to the Star Trek fan, it kind of insults their intelligence a little bit by doing this, and without trying to flesh out the actual core science fiction concepts that we come to expect from TOS. Let's not talk about Turnabout Intruder. Okay, so I'm going to give this a pretty solid 3. A point of that is purely because I enjoyed myself laughing it with you guys. You're muted, Auto. No, well, can't hear you. Nope, still can't hear you. Is your microphone broken again? Oh no.
I will be Otto's voice.
Okay.
Guys, I really like this episode.
Yeah, no. I came out of the day thinking we were going to watch Justice and the Andorian Incident. Like, those are the next two in the hopper. I'm like, I like those. Those are good episodes. We're going to have a good time talking about them. And then we get this.
Okay.
And the next one.
Anyway.
Did you just say that Justice is a good episode?
It is a funny episode that we would have a fun time riffing over.
That is different to good.
Well, see,
in retrospect, this was a good episode in those criteria.
So I think that helps me define how I view this episode. That watching it with you guys and riffing on it, that was fun. If I had turned this episode on just to watch by myself, I wouldn't have made it through it. I'd have turned it off at most halfway through.
Well, Here we go. Context is everything. You're right, Big. So let's talk about the context of the original series has been off the air except for syndication, and now the only thing on the air for Star Trek is Star Trek: The Animated Series. It's been a decade since the last new Star Trek has been on the air, and without the internet or streaming or any access really whatsoever, because there weren't even VHS tapes at the time, so you couldn't call up an episode when you wanted to watch it. So if you are starved and your favorite show is Star Trek, then does that change the impression of this episode at all to anybody?
You can't make me like Rise of Skywalker. You can't.
Oh boy.
Nobody's asking you to.
Yeah, we wouldn't inflict that kind of pain on you. Well, with that conclusion, this episode is rated a staggering 2.7 in answer to Overtired's question. This is currently sitting as our 6th worst reviewed episode. Currently worst rated is Code of Honor, followed by The Last Outpost, Lonely Among Us, Charlie X, followed by Time and Again. So we're building a big stack of bad episodes.
This feels right. This feels like we're doing a good job.
This is scientific. This is absolutely scientific. We are doing this as ISO accredited, controlled laboratory. This is perfectly within lines. We have documentation, although I can't find it right now. Don't ask for it. Anyway, we will be back in a couple of weeks. Please like and subscribe, all that stuff. Follow our Discord. For anyone watching us streaming, hold on because we're going to
smash that like button.
Like and subscribe. For anyone still watching on the live stream, stick with us. We're going to watch something else in a minute. For everyone else, live logs and proper, live long and prosper, whichever your preferred is. We'll see you soon. Oh yes, and yes, we'll see you soon.